Lately, I've been diving deep into the chaotic world of Facebook Marketplace, hunting for PC parts, and I think I've struck gold. First up, an RX 480 for just 25 euros, which is a steal considering they usually go for twice as much. But the deals didn't stop there. I also picked up GTX 750 Ti, another legendary card. And last but not least, I got a CPU, motherboard and RAM combo for another 25 euros. Oh, and the GT440 was part of it, which was a lovely freebie. The CPU, you ask? Well, it's an i5 3470, so a 4-core 4-thread chip paired with 16GB of DDR3 RAM. Combining the combo with the RX 480, it gives us a 50 euro PC more or less, excluding storage and the power supply. I know what you are thinking. Didn't you say in a previous video that DDR3 systems should be avoided? You're absolutely right, and I still stand by that statement for anyone trying to build a budget PC, But I am just a grown-up dude who wastes money and hoards PC parts for fun, makes videos out of that, and for some odd reason you're watching them. But what is so special about this setup? About 5 years ago, my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, started playing The Witcher 3. Before that, she was mostly playing the Sim series, which her poor old laptop could kinda handle. The Witcher 3 though, yeah, it was completely out of its league. Back then, I wanted for her to enjoy the game, so without blowing a budget, as I was saving up to go back to finish my studies, I came up with a plan. To pair a cheap pre-built PC with a dedicated GPU. I even bought the GPU, which was, oddly enough, an RX 480, possibly the same model, both were from Sapphire, but when I pitched the idea to her, she said no, so I did not proceed with the gift. Still, I always wondered how that build would have performed, The pre-builds I had my eyes on were all DDR3 systems with Intel i5s from the 3rd and 4th generation. So basically what I have here, And as I recreated the setup, let's see what it is capable of at 1080p. Minecraft is not a game she would play, and the PC does struggle with it when all the assets are still being loaded. Getting on average to 120 FPS with a 1% loss of 2.1, but if you ran the test once everything is loaded in, the average increases to 275 and the 1% loss climbs all the way up to 35 FPS, which is a much better experience, though the CPU usage was quite high throughout. Frostpunk is a game she would play, and she could have done that on the highest settings and getting on average 53 FPS with decent 1% lows, no stutters here. God of War is another classic that she enjoyed, and with the original preset, the render scale was set to 100 because I think it's on 75 by default. Regardless, the PC pushes above 50 FPS, but it is stuttery until assets load in, 2 Point Hospital is a game that even her laptop could run, but not that well. Well, here we get around 63 FPS on average with a 1% loss in the mid-30s. The Witcher 3, the game, or rather the main reason to get her a PC, and was a game she got me into, for which I'm thankful, as it is so fucking good, Anyway, the game was running above 60 FPS on medium settings. Going too high meant losing a good 15 FPS, which is still acceptable in my opinion, and the 1% lows were decent in both cases, so a good experience overall. Civilization 6 is not a game that she would play, yet I like it, especially due to its benchmark, Running it on high or ultra settings netted us basically the same results. I did not investigate why, but the game was more than playable, that's what matters here, Counter-Strike 2. Again, is here just for the sake of testing. On medium settings, we got almost 80 FPS, while on low, we get 10 FPS more. The 1% lows are terrible when freshly loaded, but it stabilizes after some time, but that would not be acceptable for any competitive player. Horizon Zero Dawn is another game she got me into. Here on favored performance, which is basically the low settings, we got 67 FPS, while the minimum value was 14. Going to the original graphical preset, it gave us exactly 60 FPS on average, while the 1% lows were a bit worse. The game did stutter at times, but the experience is better than God of War, which was the only game I would deem non-playable. Well, Counter-Strike kinda, depends on your preferences. And last but not least, another great title is Metro Exodus. On medium settings we get above the 60 FPS mark, with respectable 1% lows of 34. But if we increase the preset to high, we lose around 1/3 of the frame rate, but the 1% low value is similar to The Witcher, so playable and enjoyable. So, what is the final verdict? Would this have been a decent budget PC 5 years ago? Well, for around 200 to 250 euros, I would say yes. As certain games would not be as demanding as they are nowadays. I'm talking Counter-Strike 2, because you had Counter-Strike Go. And the Minecraft, of course, Oh, and also the operating system would be less demanding as well. The CPU is definitely on its last legs, because the CPU usage is very high overall, and also it takes quite a long time to load into games, Actually, if I compare this to my 10-year-old PC, which is just one generation newer, the experience there was quite smoother, And in regards to the graphics card, it is still capable to run even newer titles, and, of course, if by newer you mean 5 years old and more, but still I do think it still has something to offer, We will see how long it will still be supported, I do expect AMD to drop support for it relatively soon, as that is also almost 10 years old, I do hope you enjoyed this journey. If you did, do the usual, consider giving it a like, posting a comment, subscribing, and I will see you all on the battlefield. Gaming Teacher out.